Eagle 7 here, and in this video we're going to talk about a steep approach to a confined area. A confined area is basically an area where the flight of the helicopter is limited by some terrain or obstruction. It can be natural or man-made. As you see off to our left, we've got a small cement area carved out of the woods, surrounded on all four sides by some really tall palm trees. So the first thing we want to do is initiate a high recon, which is what we're doing here. We want to circle the intended landing zone at about 500 feet in 60 knots. And in our high recon, we're looking for our wind direction and speed. We can use the palm leaves if they're blowing. If they have a windsock, we can use that. We're looking for obstacles. We're looking for our point of entry and point of exit on the approach. We're looking for any power lines, power poles, any obstructions that would cause a problem on final approach. We're also looking at the landing zone itself. In this case it's cement, but it is uneven terrain, so we need to be aware of that as we come into the LZ. Now after we've conducted the high recon, we're turning here onto our approach path or our final approach, and we want to set ourselves up for a nice slow and steep approach. So we want to kind of hang there a little bit. We want our approach to be a little bit higher, the angle from our helicopter to the LZ, a little bit bigger of an angle than on a normal approach. And when we do that, we're entering into that flight regime settling with power. We have to be aware of that. Remember, our three factors are airspeed less than 30 knots, sink rate more than 300 feet per minute, and some power on the engine. So we need to be aware that this is a scenario where we could get into settling with power. So as we're on our final approach here, we've got our airspeed slowed up, we've got our sink rate 300 feet or below, and we're just kind of, again, I always talk about walking that helicopter in. We're not in a hurry, everything is slow. We can see the LZ, and as we're getting closer we can confirm what we saw on our high recon. There's no power lines, no power poles, the LZ is not obscured by anything. We have a concrete landing area. It does have a slope to it, so we have to take that into account. And we just slowly walk that helicopter in, and we need to be aware of the tail out there behind us. We don't want to stick that into the tree. Remember, we got a lot of helicopters still behind us, so as we enter into our hovering descent, we want to make sure that tail is clear. And you can see here we're descending at about 100 feet per minute. Just slowly walking that helicopter down and forward slightly. We can see the building off to our right. And everything is very slow. Very fine movements on the control. We're not in a hurry to get down. And then as we get into our 3 to 5 foot hover, we're going to go ahead and just do a pedal turn, reposition the aircraft where we want it, based on the grading and the slope that we have, and then gently sent the aircraft down. So I hope that helps, and we'll see you on the next one.